Joining me right now to talk more about the situation on the ground is the Center for American Security co-chairman, Fox News contributor, General Keith Kellogg. General, great to have you this morning. Thanks so much for your insights. What's your assessment of where we are today in this war?
Yeah, thanks, Maria. Thanks for having me. Look, they're slowly advancing on Kyiv. That's obvious from what Trey just said a second ago. And for a long time, a lot of us are scratching our heads why it's taken them so long, the Russians, to get close into Kyiv. And I think initially there was just some real poor planning and poor execution by the Russians. Here's what I'm a little bit concerned about right now. Putin now sees that nobody's really going to get involved in this fight. They're kind of hands off. You know, look what happened we did with the Russian MiGs and other support out there. And I think now Putin's saying to himself, well, I've got a little more time, so I can take my time to deliberately go into the city of Kyiv. He has to take Kyiv. That's the center of gravity. That's the capital. That's where you can decapitate the government. In other words, take Zelensky out. What's absolutely horrific to me is they're just randomly shooting into the city. We would never do that in the American military, or any Western military would do that. They're just doing it for pure terror. So they're slowly advancing, but I think meaning Putin, he's got a big problem because Ukrainians are fighting. They're going to fight hard, and I will tell you, Maria, nobody in the military loves to get into a city fight. It is tough. It is street by street. It's building by building, and you can lose that fight. Today, if this was a prize fight, Zelensky's ahead on points.
You know, it's interesting because I've spoken with a number of military men and women who say that the Russians are not what many people expected. They're unorganized. Yeah. They're unprofessional. We saw that on display in Syria as well. Are we seeing that again? But even so, General, they are still winning. And South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham joined me yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures to talk about this taunting by the Russians, nuclear taunting, chemical weapons taunting, and yet he wants to see faster and more action from the United States in terms of leadership. Here's Senator Lindsey Graham yesterday. Watch.
Well, it's not going to be World War III. You know, this is all a bluff. Putin knows that no one wins a nuclear exchange. So if he ordered a preemptive strike on the United States, some general would shoot him in the head. I'm calling for the crushing of the Russian economy. Even though our war and fight is not with the Russian people, it is with Putin. And the only way this war ends is with Putin either going to jail or be taken out by his own people. How do you make that happen? You help the Ukrainians. They need MiGs. It is deplorable to me, dishonorable, that we would not give 28 fighter jets to the Ukrainians to defend their skies against Russian aggression.
General, what about that? I mean, why aren't we sending these MiG jets? They need cover, air cover.
Yeah, you know, Maria. Yeah. Senator Graham's a little bit feisty there. Yeah, they need support. We need to give them all the support that we can give them. Look, there's a real tell here, and here's what the tell is. He's going to China to ask for military support and economic support as well. He wouldn't be reaching out to the Chinese for military aid or support if he wasn't having some real problems with his own military. And I think we should, what I would call, extend the battlefield, and extend it by giving these Ukrainians as much support as we can. You know, Maria, there's got to be ways we can get them those jets and on any other support. You've got to be creative how you do it. I understand that, but we should give them everything. I don't care if it's a rock. I don't care if it's a BB gun. Yeah. I don't care if it's a MiG-29. We just need to help them out and keep pressing the envelope on Putin. We know he's stretched, and that's the reason I made that comment about the tell. He wouldn't be going to the Chinese if he was not having problems in the fight today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you make a great point. And what about that meeting with the Chinese? The U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan headed to Rome today to meet with his Chinese counterpart, as new reports reveal that Russia asked China for that military equipment and other assistance in its invasion. Beijing is denying it, that they received a request for help, General. But we see this partnership strengthening between Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin. Your thoughts?
Yeah, you know, if I was Jake Sullivan, if I was a national security advisor, I'd walk in that meeting today overseas, sitting down with the Chinese. I said, let's get something really clear, real fast. If you take part in anything supporting the Russians, you are now party to the fight. So if anything goes on, it extends, whatever it's going to be, you're part of the game. So you better understand that. You've got to put them on notice, too. We just can't sit back and be reactive. We've got to be creative. We've got to be forward-thinking, and we have to put pressure on both China and on Russia or anybody else who supports the Russians right now. It has to be a united front. It has to be a tough front. I just don't think we're there right now, Maria. I just don't.
But real quick, General, is it really united? I mean, the U.S. is working on an Iran deal, and Russia is negotiating on the U.S.'s behalf. So what's that?
Yeah, well, look, my big concern is the fact that we are not the ones in the driver's seat and negotiating. Everybody else is doing it. We're kind of on the back seat, and that's because I think we've kind of ceded that authority and responsibility to the French or to the Germans or anybody else. It's a real disappointment to me.
General, thanks so much for being here. We so appreciate you. General Keith Kellogg. We'll be right back.